The views on That's My Word podcast is expressed strictly for entertainment purposes only. Word. Hello, everyone. I am Uncle Will of Umbrella Entertainment's That's My Word podcast. We are here today with a very lovely guest. Before we move on, I'm going to let my co-host also introduce himself too. Charles.
Top of the day to you. You can call me Charles. You can call me C. Wright. You can call me Canada. And lately, you can call me Phoenix.
This guy crazy. Okay, well, now that you met Phoenix again, we have a lovely guest on the show by the name of Miss Carone. Could you please introduce yourself and let people know a little something about you?
Sure. Yes, my name is Melissa Carone, and I guess a lot of people know me from being the Dominion voting whistleblower back in November. And since then, I've just been working a lot on the election fraud, and I'm also running for state rep here in Michigan.
Oh, okay. So with that, what you think what prompted you to run for office?
You know, a lot of what I saw prompted me to run for office. And then just the point that we didn't have any of our legislators here in Michigan doing anything about it. And it's just a shame. And, that's why I really would love to be part of the legislation here in Michigan. And we need to get Dominion out of Michigan completely. And then work our way towards bigger things. But our elections are very, very important.
Oh, okay. Do you have any experience in politics?
I've always been involved in politics personally. And, when I was a kid, I've always, I was raised in a very Republican household, and so I know a lot about politics, but I've never been involved. But it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I agree, Charles.
Yeah, let me ask you, because you mentioned about what you saw. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe the first item that you saw?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So I worked for 27 hours. When I first got to the TCF Center, I realized that the batches of ballots, which is 50 ballots, the poll workers were running through these machines over and over and over again and the machines will throw up an option that says rescan or discard. And what the correct procedure would be is to discard these batches before you run them through again, so it doesn't count them again. But they weren't doing that. They were just rerunning them, and it was counting votes over and over and over again. And this went on the whole time I was there. I actually asked my manager about it. And he told me he didn't.
If you don't mind me asking, who was your manager?
His name was Nick. He's actually, now that I found out, he's a part owner of Dominion.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a conflict to have. That's not a conflict to have the owner of a company to be in a local voting type deal.
I would assume it would be, and but the thing is he never came out and told us he was an owner. He just said that he was a manager, and one of the girls that worked there actually came out and told me.
Wow. When you were telling him, how did you feel at that time when you were telling him?
I was just really upset because I couldn't believe that was going on. And he literally just told me, he pulled me aside and he said, I don't want to hear that we have a problem here. He said, we're here to assist with IT work. We're not here to run their election. And at that point I was thinking, wait, this isn't their election. This is our election. and there's something going on that's not right, and you're not doing anything about it. And it was just, at that point, I kind of knew that he knew what was going on, and he was there to assist with the fraud.
Now, did you file a complaint after that, or whatever, grievance, whatever it's called?
No, I didn't. I called the FBI on November 6th.
Mhm.
And I talked to 2 different agents on the phone. The first time I was on the phone for about an hour, the phone disconnected. She had all my information. She never called me back. I figured she'd call me back. She never called me back. Then the second time I called back to talk to another agent, I had to re-explain everything. And she told me she was going to call me back. She never called me back.
And which office was that of the Detroit branch? Was it?
It was, I can get you the number for it, but it was
But I'm asking you,
like,
which location?
it was like the head of elections of the FBI. My mom sent it to me. I have it written down.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
And then the next step, you ended up somehow testifying.
Yeah. So the next
Get to that
step,
point.
I wrote an affidavit. One of my friends that I met at the Stop the Count rally, because when I got off of work on November 4th, I actually went down back to where I was working to the Stop the Count rally, because that was actually somebody that's running for governor here in Michigan that put this event on. And I met this girl, her name is also Melissa, and she's very involved in politics. And she's actually still one of my very good friends, but she had me write an affidavit, and she got me to the right people, which was like Patrick Colbeck, the very first person I talked to, which is a former senator here in Michigan.
Mhm.
And he got my affidavit then to Trump's attorneys. And then that's when I got a call to testify.
So speaking of Trump's attorney, uh, you were called or contacted by Giuliani to
Yeah.
testify, whatever.
Mhm.
How were you contacted? You know what I'm saying? I mean, what was the reason, or what was it that they felt that the validity that you had to
Mhm.
be able to come up there and testify on the
Right.
behalf of then President Trump?
Yeah. So I actually testified the day prior to in front of the Michigan Senate. So that was December 1st, the day that the day before I testified with Rudy.
Okay.
So Rudy actually saw that hearing, and he saw me testify at that hearing. He was watching it. It was being filmed live. And then right after that hearing, I got home, and about an hour later, he called me and
Oh, wow.
asked me to testify with him the next day. Yeah. And which was such short notice. And he
How
said,
did
"Can
you
you be
feel
there?"
when you got that call? How
Yeah,
did
yeah,
you
yeah,
feel?
yeah, yeah. How I mean, how were you feeling when you actually got the call? I mean, were you like, I'm being pranked here, or what?
Well, I'll tell you, he has a very distinctive voice.
Okay.
So I knew it was him. And he had a woman on the line too, which was his assistant.
Okay.
And so it was very clear that it was him. And he was very nice. I was in shock, because the whole time I had been trying to talk to him about this, because I thought it's very important, what I had to say. And I just couldn't get a hold of him. I couldn't, and I knew he was very busy. I know he is. And it's very hard to get a hold of him. But Rudy and I have become very close friends, and we've stuck together through this. And I've, called him, kept in regular contact with him.
Mhm.
And he's a very smart person, and he's helped me through a lot. And yeah, but it was very shocking.
Well,
It was.
piggybacking off of what
I'm
Uncle
sorry,
Will asked.
Charles.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
no,
Just let me ask this.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do Giuliani plan on coming down here to support you at any of your upcoming
He does.
rallies and everything?
Yeah, he actually offered, because I went to New York about a month and a half ago to visit Rudy, and he set up we did a podcast when I was there. And
Okay.
he's going to release that soon. He said he's editing it, and so he's going to send that to me. And yes, he is coming to Michigan. He told me
Okay.
that he will come here and do a fundraising event for me.
Cool. Charles?
Okay, well, piggybacking off after, or we'll say off of what Uncle Will will start to ask you early, actually asked you before I was intrusive, I apologize. The affidavit that you had signed, everything else, just a guesstimation. How many statements, how many lines of statements, what was the number of statements you had to present to him?
About 25.
25. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Yep.
did anybody at that time say, I do understand by you signing this, it's going to create a lot of turmoil?
So I went to the day of the hearings. He said, can you come to my hotel and tell me what happened about an hour before the hearing? And I said, yes. When I got there, his hotel was full of people. Jenna Ellis was there. About 5 other witnesses were there. We sat down for about an hour. I showed him my affidavit. I brought all the Dominion paperwork with me. I actually audio recorded the Dominion training session, and it's just a habit I have. And it's great that I did it because it came in, it really, we were able to use it. But so again, it was an hour. It probably should have been more because we really did need more time than that. But and I believe that's why the hearings were kind of just everywhere, because we should have really been, we should have been more organized, and we weren't. But I'm sorry, what was the question?
Did anybody prepare you or tell you what you'll be facing by signing that statement? Won't testify.
Yeah, he did. And when you sign an affidavit at the very end, it says, that if you lie on it, then there's prison time. So you write that all out, and then you sign it. So you're very well aware of that. And
I think what Charles is saying in regards to, like, far as being scrutinized and everything like that, people coming out to headhunt you and everything. I mean, just it's like, for example, even with the Saturday Night Live parody or whatever, right? When you got Cicely Strong on there, I mean, this took your situation to a whole nother level. Now you got people out here making fun of you, not taking your political views into concern, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, with all of that, and as well as some family or friends possibly turning on you and everything, I mean, you wasn't prepared for that, but how are you handling it now?
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I will say that nobody ever warned me about anything to do with that. I believe that he thought that I already knew that I was going to be attacked in that way. Not to that extent. And I don't even think he knew, because he still talks about how crazy it is. But it was very, it was shocking. And what I've learned to do is ignore it. And that's just what works better for me. A lot of people did I would say there was a lot of Republicans that got a bad first impression of me from the hearings.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know why. I don't, because I mean, I guess it's because they think that I was, too sharp or coming back too quickly at people. But when people understand the history and what led up to me feeling that way, they completely understand why I was, so upset at that hearing. Because I was being attacked on every level by the media. I had just testified the prior day. My daughter at the time was 3 months old. I was still, exhausted. I was up all night with her, and just never being put in the public eye like that. And then it happening so quickly when you have very young children, and it's very shocking. It's very shocking. And I think that that played a lot into how upset I was at that hearing.
Let's also go back to the Dominion situation. So Dominion is a Canada-based company, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now they have been, I guess, selling their voting machines throughout the U.S. I guess the U.S. is like the second largest distribution of these voting machines and everything. And so the argument is that Dominion stole the election from the Republican-based party in
Mm-hmm.
2020. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now I guess my question would be is those same machines were also used in the 2016 election
Mm-hmm.
when Trump beat then Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
What was the difference in processing from 2016 election to 2020 election?
Okay. So I'll start with just COVID. COVID caused a lot with our election process. Here in Michigan, we don't utilize mail-in voting until 2020.
Mm-hmm.
COVID allowed that, which opened a huge door to fraud. Huge. And I don't know if you've ever heard Trump say, don't ever allow your state to accept mail-in ballots. It's going to cause so much fraud. He warned us about it for so long. Well, see, these machines.
Can you specify when you say the fraud? Go right into detail on that.
Okay, so when we have a Secretary of State that's sending out first, I'll say that she sent out absentee ballots to every single registered voter in Michigan. Mm-hmm. That actually happened. So there were people who filled out an absentee ballot, sent it back, and then went in or got a mail-in ballot. And they received mail-in ballots too. And these you don't request, you just get them. Right. So people got absentee ballots, they got mail-in ballots, and then there's people that also went to the polls and voted on voting day. So voted 3 times. That's, these people, that's common sense. Don't do it. Right. But people did it. A lot of people did it. Several people did it. There's people that, you guys know this. There's dead people that voted. There's kids under 16 that voted. There's illegal immigrants that voted. And this happens every single election cycle, I believe, that the dead people vote, that
So you think they did it in 2016 too?
I do, for sure. I do. I believe that this fraud has been used, that the machines have been used by both Democrats and Republicans to cheat in elections, and that is why
you are blunt. I like that.
You know what?
You are blunt. I like that.
I like that too. You being blunt, because what you're saying then is in 2016 it benefited Trump, because like you said, it both Republicans and Democrats doing it.
Absolutely. It's wrong, and nobody will admit it.
So yeah. What are your plans because if you win, you're going to represent myself and Charles in Michigan. So what are your plans to change all of this hypocrisy that's going on in politics, especially here in the state of Michigan?
Yeah, Michigan is, I'll tell you, what I've learned about Michigan lately is completely, the corruption, it doesn't end. But my plans are, and I've said this to all of my followers, I am a very honest person. If anybody has any questions about, I always tell them, if you have any questions about my past, about me, ask me and I'll be happy to tell you. Mm-hmm. I will never lie to the people. I'll never, when you are an elected official, you work for the people. That is your job. And it is not to get elected again. It is not for any other thing, and you should be doing your job. I plan on getting rid of Dominion and going back to hand counting ballots. We have to get rid of these machines. They are programmed by human beings that don't have very good intentions, and what you tell a computer to do, it is going to do that.
Now,
It doesn't think.
now, Ms. Carone, to me though, in regards to those machines, though those same machines also benefited your base in other different elections and stuff too, or whatever. I mean, you don't think that some people have a right to be like, well, if it's not benefiting you, you're complaining, but now that it's not benefiting you, you know what I'm saying? You want to find fault in something that has got,
I
uh,
can see that.
you know,
I can see where you're coming from with that fully, but I will say this too. I have not been involved, like when in the beginning when we said, that I just got involved in politics, like,
mhm,
publicly. So if I was involved publicly in politics in 2016 and I saw this with these machines, I don't think I wouldn't be coming out saying exactly what I saw, because cheating is cheating, and it is our right as Americans to pick who we want to be president.
right.
That is not that should not be something that somebody cheats to do. We have to do that as a whole, as a country, we vote. And that is our right. So that is something that we have to take it's a sacred um it's a sacred right that we have, and we must make sure that it stays fair and transparent. And if we don't, we're going to have a problem.
Well,
So
no,
yeah,
but no, I was just thinking that, okay, so for our future conservatives as well as future liberals that's going to be running this country for us or whatever, the question is, are we teaching these young children who are going to be the future, are we teaching them that democracy is a farce by not accepting the foundation of what our country was built on, which is democracy? Because we're saying that voting is what we use to determine who's going to lead our country, whereas other countries may have dictators and everything like that. So are we teaching
mhm.
our future children, our future leaders, like I said, conservatives or liberals, it don't matter, that the democracy that we have here is a farce?
I don't understand by what you mean by, are we teaching them that?
So are we telling them that, okay, well, the outcome of the election, it was stolen, let's just go ahead and move on? Because even then, Hillary Clinton, with the with the Russian tampering back in 2016, it was widely spreaded or whatever, and not once did she try to file a lawsuit or anything like that to say,
Hmm.
hey, he was helped by Putin.
Right.
I want everything recounted. So what I'm saying is,
Okay.
I mean, can
I
we
get it.
move on eventually? I mean,
Right.
that's what I'm getting at.
So, okay. So my answer to that is this. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. That we have a very large group of Republicans that are still attempting to go back to the presidential election and flip it.
Hmm.
I personally don't believe that is going to happen, and I believe that we need to move forward, and we need to focus on what needs to be fixed and fix it moving forward.
Oh,
With that
good.
being said, with these voting machines, I want them out for our future elections, so we can have some faith and transparency in our elections. Let the past be in the past. Whatever, we can't do anything about it, but we
Good.
can do something moving forward.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Well,
Charles?
let me ask you this then. When you were testifying
Yeah.
and there was a state rep that shouted at you, called you a
Mhm.
liar, and stated they know you're lying,
Cynthia Johnson. Yeah.
how did that make you feel at that point in that time when you had a state rep in this hearing state that to you? How did you feel?
To be honest, I think that if anybody rewatches that hearing, that you'll know how I feel, because I actually said it. I believe I said, I can't believe that you can just say what you want to say to whoever you want to say it to, because that's what she was doing. And to be honest, I felt like I couldn't believe it, because here we are, and she said that we should be under oath when when you sign an affidavit, you're under oath. I mean, you're literally under oath. It says it on there. If you're lying, you'll serve prison time. So that, to me, that is under oath. And when she said it, I just figured, it was shocking. It was very shocking. And I don't understand why we have state reps that are standing up and claiming that people are lying. I mean, she has no idea. You know, she can't prove that. And how in the world did everything that I said in my affidavit, if you go through it, I mean, it's very clear, because all of this stuff happened in every state. How did they, you'd never be able to lie on it, because you wouldn't,
let me ask you this. Followed afterwards, the labeling that came upon you after that. Can you name some of the labels that people put on you after that?
Yeah. I would say the number one thing was a drunk. I was called a drunk several times.
How did that make you feel?
Wow.
Well, you know, to be honest, I didn't understand it. It was just, I thought that it was because of Saturday Night Live. I thought that it was also, I knew for a fact it was also a state rep we have in Michigan, a Republican one, that went on his personal Facebook page and actually made a meme saying I was drunk with my picture on it.
Who made that meme?
His name is Bo LaFave.
Okay. Now you said you had indicated you have nothing to hide at all.
No.
Politics is very, very dirty.
Yes,
I know.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of times the media will sway to certain things to ensure certain people get elected or persuaded.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Can you really stand the time of, we'll say, time on your hands to deal with the public and media scrutiny where stuff may be slanderous or it may be truth of certain things that may have happened in your past that you didn't think people could find out or will reveal? Are you prepared for that?
I am 100% prepared for that, Charles. And I will say that my past has been publicized several times. Some of it's true, some of it's not. I've been through several media interviews explaining which parts are true, which parts are not true. To me, I am 34 years old. And to me, that is stuff that I did when I was 18 years old. And that was more than half of my life ago. I am a mother of two. I'm engaged. I have a career. I totally changed my life around. And I'm sorry, but when to me, it made me who I am today. And it's not anything that I'm happy about, but being that it did make me who I am today, I wouldn't change it. And that is my past. And I take full accountability for it. And again, there's politicians that have the most disgusting past that you've ever seen or you'd ever believe. I mean, and it is awful, but I'll tell you, they'll be the first ones to jump on you and tell you that you have, an awful past. But, and usually I find it to be that when somebody says that to me and I look into their past, theirs is 50 times worse.
Right. Bunch of skeletons, right?
Yes, it's unbelievable. It really is. These people are very hypocritical.
Well, tell me this. So January 6th, you were there for Trump's his rally. Can you give us a sense of how were you feeling when you witnessed the individuals that came to the rally as they stormed the Capitol? What was your feeling as you witnessed, as Charles said, the insurrection? Or do you even consider it an insurrection?
I do. I consider it to be a crime, what people did, and I don't think it was right. I will add this. I will say that these are people that have been locked in their houses for a year at the time. And these are people that also 100% believed that this election was stolen from them, and they were very upset. So what that doesn't make what they did okay. It doesn't change anything, but I'm just saying it makes for a very upset and rowdy crowd. What I saw on January 6th was a very peaceful crowd. I was at the rally. I was about 5 rows from Trump, and me and my friend and my fiance were there, and we had a great time. It was freezing cold. We left very early, and we went to the hotel. I turned the TV on at the hotel and saw what was going on at the Capitol. At that moment, I understood. It literally hit me at that moment that Trump was never going to win. He was never going to pull through. It was not going to happen. That is when I realized that there is absolutely no way that this is going to happen because of how they were flipping this.
So do you feel that the ones that committed the insurrection, they pretty much put the period at the end of the sentence for Trump? They just sealed the deal because of their actions, you think, or what?
I believe I believe that what happened on January 6th was a planned event. And I believe that we had people there, as I said, that had been locked in their houses for a year and were upset. And yes, they were Trump supporters. But I also believe that since this event was planned by Trump and put out 2 months early, that they had time to organize, them being Antifa, and they were getting off of buses and they were being bussed into DC. And it was very obvious. The morning I went to the rally, I had to get up at 6 a.m. and go get our tickets from about 2 miles away. And when I was on my way, it was still dark out because it was very early in the morning. Well, there was these guys walking around the street, and I think I actually got a picture of one of them. And they had spikes down their legs, on their pants. They had baseball bats sticking out of their backpacks. They had you could tell there would be no way anybody would ever be walking around like that unless they were looking to assault a group of people. So I was thinking, and the police were right on the street and they had people pulled over. And I was thinking, wait a second, what are these police doing when these people are walking around like this? They know for a fact what's going on. I know they do. I know what's going on. So we have police here that aren't saying a single word, but I saw Antifa that morning, and, again, they walk around, you can tell they're looking to assault someone. So it's like, what is going on? And I know it was a planned thing. So when you watch the videos and the police just allowing people to come in to that Capitol the way they were, and it's just, to me, it's very strange what happened that day. Well, and go ahead.
When you brought that up, let me say this. From my belief, are you aware that the police or officers of the Capitol, when those people forced entry, let alone the lady who was killed later on because of her actions, do you know that all of them should have been shot upon entry, on their forced entry, the way they did that?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know that there was forced entry. I know that I watched the video of Ashley Babbitt and I saw her. That's what she was doing, is jumping through a window.
When they breached the Capitol doors by force, those officers had the right to shoot, from my understanding, at that point. So they even went even further in there. So that would be something that will be for further investigation. But your belief, go ahead.
Well, I mean, actually, that has to be true, because the officer that shot her, he just got dismissed from the case, which is, to be honest, if I had a strong opinion on what happened with Ashley Babbitt, I would express that opinion, but I honestly don't, because it's just something that I would never do. I would never jump through a window at the Capitol, our Capitol. And I would never, ever think that that's okay. That's the first thing I would think, is that I would probably be shot.
Are you for them or against those individuals who stormed the Capitol?
I'm completely against the individuals that stormed the Capitol.
Okay. Well, this was a good first half here, and